Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
We're live, Veronica. You can greet everyone.
Okay, good morning, Facebook fans. Welcome to session day 672. I'm excited to talk about how important water is to us and to our environment. Thank you.
Peace and blessing, Miss Veronica. Peace and blessing, wake up.
Peace and blessings, Sister Teresa.
Good morning, Veronica. How you doing?
Good morning, Brother Adam. How are you?
Every day is a good day, especially when you wake up to go to the gym to do your leg workouts.
Thank you. Thanks for seeing you. I know you're doing your workout.
Exactly.
Veronica, you want to let the community know whatever they might need for your session?
All you need is an open mind. Come on in with just an open mind and be able to receive. And just as I have dealt with water, I'm just trying to remember what I need to know in an emergency. So water is our most essential element, and you don't need anything. Thank you. Good morning, community. As you come in, welcome.
Exactly.
Do I leave my phone on for you guys?
No, you can leave it on mute.
Okay. Morning, wake up community. Welcome in. Thank you for coming in. Morning, Roz.
Pardon the delay as the song is loading.
Peace and blessing.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Veronica, if you could come off mute and start.
Good morning. Good morning, all. It's so great to have you all. And my topic today is water, an absolutely essential element. And as you enter in, I just want you all to start thinking about how much water you need to use every day and how much we actually use per person. And that's what our discussion is about. So welcome in, welcome in. And I'm going to start off with our poll question, if possible, so that we can begin a discussion. And thanks for coming in. Yes, so as you begin to think about your water needs and you answer the poll question, it's so important because as we look at what's happening around the world as it pertains to water, many of us have never given a thought to not having it, to bathe with, to drink, to wash our floors. This thought has never come to us. So somebody just said, Adam just said he's got his water. And the big question is, did Adam actually get his water or buy his water? And is water so essential that you need to purchase it and is it not just available for you? Yes. So I like Adam to come on for a quick second so I can ask you a few questions until the poll is ready. If you don't mind, Adam. Hello?
He might have been driving. Remember, he said he was on his way to the gym. So it's not an actual poll that's going to pop up onto the screen for the participants to answer and click it. But the question was dropped. Are you prepared for a water emergency?
Okay, great.
And we can either have some hands put up. If you're prepared for a water emergency, you can raise your physical hand or your digital hand, or you can drop your responses in the chat. Are you prepared for a water emergency?
So as the question is being asked, and I see some no's here, I see some no's, and more no's. I haven't seen a yes yet in the chat about what, oh yes, Sister Abimbola. You say that you're prepared for a water emergency, and then I have a hand raised. And I think I want to start off with Abimbola and then with the T person. So Sister Abimbola, can you come in?
Okay, so it's really interesting you asked that question.
Yes.
But so so because of the pandemic, I have been stocking up on water for a long time. And so I have like these big 5-gallon jugs. And then I have all this Deer Park, the small ones, the medium size. Then I have gallons. So I have water.
Okay, you've got water. So
now
now
I'm prepared for emergency, but I could wash my face. I could drink because I have quite a bit of water in my garage.
Okay, wonderful. So here's one person that said, yes, I'm prepared. And then I want to hear to the person, another person, maybe the person that has tea that does not have water put aside. So I'd like a response from someone who doesn't have water and has not thought about not having water and needing to have some at home. So can I hear from a no person?
Teresa, are you with your hand raised? Are you a no? Are you prepared for a water emergency?
I got water, so I'm not a no person. I got some water saved.
Yes.
I got some water saved.
Okay. Rachel, you raised your hand. Are you a no person?
Yes, I'm a no, but it's I don't want to say it's complicated.
Yes.
So every time I think I'm prepared, right? Because I buy so much of it. And then the prices go so high and I'm like, oh, heck no, I'm not buying this water at this price, like $6.99, $7.99. I'm not doing that. So then I run out of water because I do that with like toilet paper, paper towels. I always have bulk, but when it goes from like the prices, yeah. So that's my no, and the reason why, yeah.
The reason why. So I was hoping that one of the no's would be, I just don't have any place to store water. So as a consequence, I am not going to collect water because I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to keep it in jars, I'm in bottles. I'm just not going to have water because you know what? I have no place to put it. So that was one of the things that I was trying to get out of some of us, to say that, you know what, we always have space for water. If we have space in our closet for clothes that have tags on them that we've never used, we have space for a couple gallons of water. So the question that I'm going to ask is, how much water do you think we need for our one person's daily use, and how much do we actually use? And I'd like my co-facilitators to just take the first person's answer and let me know. So I'm looking for a number, two numbers actually. The amount of water that you need to survive per day, per person, and the amount of water that we actually use. So please throw that into the chat. So I see Sister Cheryl said, I have 1 gallon bottles filled. How many do you have? And Sister Abimbola says she never runs out of water. So I'm looking for a specific number, and the closer you get to the number, I want that person to be held, will receive something. So Sister Teresa says 8 gallons. So you're saying 8 gallons for your daily use is what you need, or what you actually use?
I was saying 8 gallons. I was saying 8 gallons per day, probably, that a person might need.
Okay, and somebody, Rachel said 4 bottles of water per person. So is that 4 gallon bottles or 4 quart bottles?
4 like regular bottled water.
Okay, okay. I like some of these answers. Go ahead. Is somebody else coming through?
So I think between consumption and then, as you were saying, like bathing and hygiene,
yes,
I would say 3.
You would say 3. Okay. 3. Next person. Anybody else have anything to add before we enter this information session? Because I'm going to be throwing some information at you.
So we have a response from Naomi, who says, you need half of your weight in ounces each day for to survive. So, oh wow, now we're sitting here doing math.
That's what they say. That's what they say. That is what they say. Okay. So since I've elicited some questions, and I want Sister Rachel to win the prize, or unless somebody in Facebook came in with another number that's close to Rachel's that you noted.
No, nothing in Facebook just yet.
Okay, so Sister Rachel, before the end of the session, I'm going to show you your prize. So you can go to the next slide if you can, please, because we've already answered the question for the second slide. So the slide that's coming in is the next slide. Okay, so the answer is 2 to 3 gallons are the recommended amount of water needed per person per day in a water emergency. So when you think about a household of 4 people, you need at least 12 gallons of water per day per person during a water emergency. Okay, so a 12 gallons would actually look like maybe 2.5 or 3 5-gallon containers. Do you know you get the the large water delivery? It's 3 of those. And so when we think about a water emergency, we're thinking about the people in Lower Manhattan last week who had arsenic in their water, and were told that they could not consume, bathe, use any water under any circumstances until the water issue was resolved. Just imagine somebody coming through your community and saying to you, you cannot use any water. And then you go to the supermarket and there's no water. You stand on one of those lines where they decide to give you a case of water. And the case of water has 24 8-ounce bottles of water. So you have to do some math to figure out, well, how long is that case of water going to last me to cook a pot of rice each day, meet my water needs? And so what happens is we think that that our government is going to jump up and meet our water needs, when they've only given you a case of water and you need 3 5-gallon bottles of water that cannot be found anywhere in your community. And so this talk that I'm having comes out of me thinking about, how do we meet the needs of our community? And we meet the needs of our community through information. And the information that I'm going to share today has to do with, not only are we buying water that's coming out of our tap, and we're buying Nestle's, for example. The Nestle company has bought an entire town, and they're getting ready to buy an island so that they could sell water back to us. They're literally selling us the tap water that we're getting. They're running it through filters and they're bottling it. And some of the bottles have been used thousands of times because the bottles are being recycled. And so when we think about the water that we use and the fact that it's water that was free 30 years ago. 30 years ago, when I first had a house in Brooklyn, I didn't pay a water bill. And then the water company went out of business and the city took it over and decided to tax all the 5 boroughs. And so we all have 5 water bills if we own a home. And so we are paying for water that should be free. And we're paying for water that's coming through faulty pipes that haven't been changed in 100 years. And so that's what this conversation is going to be about. And so I want questions. I want you to ask me questions about, well, if I'm going to use this water, how am I going to use it? Does anybody think about that and just throw it out? If I can't answer the question, I'm sure there's someone that's listening that can. So,
yes, hi, this is Teresa. How you doing?
Fine, Teresa, good morning.
The reason why I started saving water, because we didn't have water here like all day, so I wasn't able to wash up anything because I was not equipped. So I started saving, gallon bottles of water. So I have them under my bed, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, everywhere. And so I have, I've said 8 gallons, but I have quite a bit of water. I mean, I don't even know how many I have, but I know I have them everywhere. And so it wasn't a good feeling to not be able to wash up, because there was an emergency and they just shut all the water off. And so they did not provide us with water. They said one time years ago they provided us water, but this particular time they didn't. So I did happen to have like a few bottles of water, but every time I buy gallons of water. So what I do is every time I buy water, I just put the bottles different places. I have a lot of water. So sometimes it's hard to find because I have in vinegar bottles. So it's hard to find, but that happened. So that was not a good feeling.
Okay, so Rachel, and so I'm so thankful for your reply, Sister Teresa. And then I see Rachel says, is it safe to boil water? So you, Sister Teresa, have water bottles, vinegar bottles filtered water.
Yeah,
And
it's
so-
vinegar and regular water bottles.
Thank you. And then we have Rachel who says, is it safe to boil water? And when we even think about our ancestors, one generation removed, they boiled the water that came out the tap, strained it in fabric, and gave us boiled water. And what they essentially were doing was boiling the germs out of the water or any kind of bacteria that was in it. And they took really good care to put it in very clean bottles or containers. So yes, Rachel, it is safe to boil your water. Okay, filtering my water is way important. That's what Adam says. So Adam, my question to you is, filtering your city water or filtering the bottled water you buy, which one is more important?
Wow. That's a great question, Veronica. I believe filtering both is important, because when you buy bottled water from the store, especially that costs like $3 and some change, that holds 45 bottles, you don't know what's inside of that water and what they're adding to it. Because the bottled water that you buy for the grocery store can be just as bad as the tap water.
Exactly.
And usually those bottled waters don't have a lot of benefits. Versus if you buy a water filter system that has more benefits, then, that's what I'll say. I believe filtering your water, whether you get it from tap or bottle, is more important.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's go to the next slide. And so Tiffany says she drinks New York City tap water, and that's a good thing, Tiff. That's a great thing, because you're not putting money in those people's hands. So the next slide is the answer, and I can go to the next one. 2 to 3 gallons of the okay, so here, this is an answer to Teresa and to Rachel. Purchase approved water barrels for storage and future drinking water needs. Having drinking water containers for portability, rationing, and sharing. Store water in at least 2 locations in your home, not under your bed. Store water in your vehicles. Purchase a hand-operated filter purifier. Purchase iodine or chlorine water purification tablets for purifying water. So the conversation this morning is about emergency use, but you can still use these things daily to save yourself money. So I, in my research, found that water companies, the average water company that you purchase water from, in 1 year makes $263 billion in profit. In profit from going to a water source and taking water and putting it through a system and bottling it. And depending on the quality of the bottle, that determines the price that you pay. Can you believe that? That water is water is water. Whether they say it came out of a spring, whether it came out of a tap, and a lot of the bottled waters, they clearly say that it's tap water that has been purified. And so when I talk about the fact that we need to have some type of emergency system in place for our households, I'm talking about you taking the same water that they're taking out of the tap and purifying it. I see a hand raised. Is there a hand?
That's Adam.
Yes, Adam.
Yeah, Veronica, I just want to add that
Yes.
The reason why bottled waters are very dangerous, in my opinion, is because every time that I go to the gym or every time that I go somewhere to run errands, I would see like a half a bottle of water that is laying on the streets or inside of the gym, and no one has finished it or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So consequently, when people are drinking bottled water, they have a tendency to be very wasteful, and it also makes you very ignorant of what real water is. And the tap water, people really have to be very, very careful because of the contaminants that no one is talking about, like the lead.
Yes.
And the lead is the most dangerous contaminant because it affects everyone's development.
Absolutely.
Especially in low income communities and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And I just want to, bring that into the equation and not complete.
Thank you, Adam. So now let's go to the next slide because, my time is coming close and I really want to make some points here. So the next slide describes how to treat your water treatment. So treating water, 2 drops of bleach per quart of container water, 4 drops of bleach per 2 quart liter or 1/2 gallon container. Stir water and allow it to stand for 30 minutes. You should be able to smell chlorine after 30-minute period. And if you cannot add another dose, let it stand for 15 minutes. So in case of an emergency, you have water stored in your house, you're going to put a drop or 2 of bleach in it. And you're going to get a little baby dropper and a drop, and you're going to let it sit and you're going to let that water be purified. Because when you store water, you have to recycle it like anything else. You cannot put a pack of vegetables in your freezer and leave it in there for 6 months, 10 months and expect to use it. You have to use it and then put another one in. So it's very important. Next slide, please. Always date and describe contents in bottles with the preparation date. When treating water for storage up to 1 year, do not retreat. Use liquid chlorine bleach that contains 5.25% of sodium hypochlorite. Do not use bleach with soaps or scents or colors added. Add the bleach according to the prescribed, as I prescribed before. Use a clean, uncontaminated medicine dropper. Water should be stored in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Also away from gasoline, kerosene, pesticides, and similar other substances that might penetrate plastic, because most of us are addicted to plastic. So we're not going to look for glass containers or metal or stainless steel containers. We're going to use what we have. So thus, we are going to be very careful about the water we drink in case of a water emergency and we have to use our stored water. We know that it must be treated. In addition to treating it with bleach, we have these tablets. These are water purification tablets. And what they do is they take out arsenic and other elements out of water, and it has a prescribed dosage on it. And it's called Portable Aqua Water Purification Germicidal Tablets. So most of us think there was never going to be a water emergency in New York City. Most of us think that. But when we heard last week that people had no water in the Lower East Side in the projects, we said, oh, it could happen to us. Because our pipes, some of our pipes are as old as the pipes in those projects, which are about 75 years old. So we have to be conscious about our water and our water systems. When we think about, and you know what else came to mind for me? It's hard to talk about this, is that I travel a lot. And when I go to the Caribbean and certain places, there's a water truck that comes around to sell people water. So I think about the economics of it all is that we've been set up for the old okie doke, that eventually we are only going to live in a society where we have to pay for water unless we set up systems for survival. Unless we set up systems for survival. Do we have any hands raised?
We have a question from Jenny Lyons on Facebook, and she asks, are water filters okay?
Absolutely. The
And
best- Yes,
before
go
you
ahead.
answer that, and
Mhm.
Rosalind on Facebook says, where do you purchase water purification tablets?
You can get.
And if you could
Okay.
hold that up again,
Yes.
really close to the camera, out, and yeah, so people can see what it is. Yeah,
Okay.
and we can get the details of that from you and drop it in the
Absolutely.
chat.
And I purchased these on Amazon. Okay. And they're excellent in case of an emergency. So my last talk was about to-go bags, and this should be in your to-go bag. Because if you got to get water from the side of the road and you're trying to survive, you know that you can put one of these into your container and it's going to purify the water enough for your survival. This is about our survival as a race. And most of the water systems that are failing in Black and brown communities. So this should be in your to-go bag.
Veronica,
Yes.
I just, you made the comment just now about, you know, where the water systems are failing our Black and brown communities. And we've known, I'm going to say since before the pandemic, I'm going to say at least for 5 years about Flint, Michigan and what happened to Flint. And then just this week with the heavy rainstorms in the Midwest and the rivers overflowing. There are Black and brown and low-lying communities along the Mississippi Delta that aren't able to use their water the same way because of, you know, the contamination to the water systems there. Or again, in the Midwest, you see the towns and they have the water towers and the water towers are empty. And it reminds me, you know, you saying with, you know, we didn't used to have to pay for water 30 years ago, and now we're being set up for the okie doke. There's a movie called The Lorax, and in it, they actually kind of speak on this, but it's not water that they're paying for, or that is the element that is of importance. It's actually air. And that's something that's really concerning too, when you think about the greenhouse emissions and global warming and all of these things here, all of the basic elements that we need on Earth to be able to survive. Slowly but surely, we're starting to have to pay for them. You know, I was in Vegas and there were places just like a little bar. There were these oxygen bars where you can go and buy fresh oxygen. So it's just really crazy, you know, that 50 years from now, we could be talking about it's as commonplace to buy oxygen as we talk about how common it is to buy air.
That's absolutely.
We already pay for the land. So, you know, we already pay for the land. We already pay for the water. We can already pay for the air.
And
in that's that free is fire.
That's right. In New York, we if you own a home in New York, you are paying taxes not for the land because you don't own the land. In New York City, we only own the house on the land in New York City. And so it behooves us that if we have land outside of New York City and we have the ability to have a well, we have the ability to supply water to people that need water in our families. That's what a well does. It gives us the ability to find water and to supply our own water needs. And we've all been pushed into cities where it's overcrowded and we're paying for water. And this is all over the world. This is in Brazil, in parts of Africa. I was in Ghana and everybody drinks water, pay for water. They buy the little sacks of water. There are different quality sacks of water, and who knows who's filling those sacks with water, but you know what? It's most essential. And they're buying that water because it's for their survival. You know, I have one other thing to share. This is a product that my sister introduced me to, and it's called a Berkey. I'm gonna put it close up. It's a Berkey. And what this Berkey is, it's a powerless filtering system. And the filters are so powerful that it takes arsenic out of the water. It's guaranteed. And it also, you can put it on, you can fill it up in the morning, and it's going to purify. You're going to prime the pump, and then you're going to fill it up, and it's going to supply 2.5 gallons of water when you fill it, of purified water. And so this is a portable one that you would take if you have to survive, because that's my focus, you know, how do we survive in case of emergency? This is one of the things that's in my survival package. Because I don't know if I'm gonna have to dip water out of a stream or a well and put it in this system, and it's gonna clean the water enough for me to get where I have to go. And do I have another slide? I can't remember. Tiffany, I see how.
No, that was your last slide. The next slide that comes up is your closing, is your contact information.
Yeah, so my contact information is in. I do have a prize for Rachel, because Rachel came the closest to telling us how much water we actually could need to survive. Yes, we throw away, you know how much we use every day? We use over 100 gallons of water per person per day. But we don't need to use 100 gallons of water per person per day to survive. And so this is my contact information, my phone number, my Instagram, my email, and my website. I'm a quilter, so it says quilting, but I think I need another website that talks about my survival, our survival as a race, because we've been pushed into cities, and the cities are being primed for destruction. So we need to think about that, okay? And I also have, Rachel, the prize that I have for you, please send me your phone number. This is a pot holder. So you could you have a choice of this one or this one. And this is what I'm making currently in my business. It's a two-handed pot holder. So when you go into the oven, or when you're cooking in a metal pot outdoors, because you know what, our city is underwater, you have something to use to get your iron pot out of the fire. Okay, I hate to be a doomsday person, but I believe that we should be prepared for any event that could happen. And I thank you for logging in and just hearing me out. And have a great day. Okay. So love offerings and donations. We survive on WU, and you get these informations that you can go back and reference, because WU exists. And so if you'd like to do a monthly donation, please log in to bit.ly, WU Love 25, 50, 75, or $100, and give a monthly donation in lieu of donating anytime you can, because it helps to assist this program to continue. And I thank you. Next, up tomorrow, we have Building Blocks of Confidence by Joey Lee, and she's great. And then on Wednesday, it's a Salute to the Senses, Part 2.
And on Wednesday, we have
facilitated by Sandazen Heru Negron. Thank you. You got it, Tiff.
All right. Great. Thank you very much, Veronica. You can hydrate yourself.
Thank you.
With your water that I know you have nearby. Thank you all for joining us today. Welcome to the WU Nation, all new members. If today is your first day joining us, whether it's in Zoom space or on Facebook, please drop it in the chat. We want to welcome you to a community where we come to learn, elevate, and ascend. This is the Wake Up Everybody schedule. We're live in Zoom and Facebook 5 days a week. Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 7:30. If you would like a notification when it's time to join us in one of these spaces, you can text the word WUNation in cap locks to 74121. Just realized that was missing off the bottom of the slide. Good thing I know it by heart. And make sure it's time to get your swag on. Make sure you shop the swag shop at bit.ly/woo swag. It's always gift giving season. The weather's changing. Make sure you get your woo sweatshirt or coffee mug. Thank you. Here's how you stay in touch with us. Register weekly at bit.ly/wake up movement. Join us on Facebook in our private group at bit.ly/woo community. Join us on our public page at bit.ly/woo nation. Follow us on Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. You can catch episodes on YouTube at bit.ly/woo on YouTube. And last and certainly not least, you can email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. At this time, I encourage all participants still in this space to come off of mute. It is time to give a verbal love shower of praise and thanks to Veronica for sharing with us what we needed to know about water today. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Great,
Always
Thank you,
great
Dr.
Thank you,
Veronica.
Veronica.
information.
Always
Great presentation
Very
on
grateful for the
water.
information.
Let's move forward, everybody.
Appreciate
Great
that.
sharing,
you
Lord.
for all of the
I never
information.
thought about that.
And
And I
that
was
was
thinking about
Veronica.
those water
Sharing.
tablets. So thank you for putting that on the radar.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
And
you.
stop buying bottled water. It's not good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everybody, for joining
Got
us.
it.
I'm still sitting here. Mine blowing 100 gallons.
Yeah.
Stop taking them
Thank
long
you.
showers.
Thank you. Thank you so